Have a seat, please. Hello, Kevin.
Good morning, Judge. Case number 3028, Alfredson versus Gertard.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to speak to you. What's your first name?
Gabrielle.
Gabrielle, this is your mom, and you had horses.
We do, both of us.
How old are you?
21.
In what month and year did you start to board your horses with the defendant?
February 2023.
And where had they been prior to that?
Charlotte, North Carolina, where I lived before moving to Charleston.
And your mother?
And she still lives in Charlotte. She has plans to move to Charleston.
How many horses did you have?
I have one and my mom has one.
But you took both of them with you.
Yes.
Tell me why.
They've been together for over 6 years. This is something we do together, me and my mom. And since she had plans to move, we didn't want to stress them and separate them. So we wanted to keep them together.
Okay. When you moved with the horses, you were the person who found the property?
Correct.
And did you meet with the defendant?
Yes, I did.
Did you ultimately sign a lease with him?
Ultimately, yes.
When? Month and year?
It was beginning of February 2023, I believe. I have the lease. I'm not.
I'd like to take a look at the lease.
It is on my phone through emails
I
that.
want to look at the lease.
I have it, ma'am.
Oh.
Would you like
see
a
it.
copy?
Yes.
These are copies of all the documents I'll be speaking about today.
I don't want to see all the documents. I want to see the lease.
Coming up, Exhibit B.
Thank you. Okay, your lawsuit today seeks recoupment of certain monies that you paid pursuant to this lease. The defendant has a cross-complaint for damages that your horses did to his property, which is also included in the lease as your responsibility. So the lease started February the 12th. When did you move your horses there?
The night of the 11th.
And where did you put them?
In the pastures on Glenn's property.
Was he there?
He was. He came out and told us we can,
So you were there with your mother?
Yes. It was me, my mother, and my father.
And there were no incidents. Did he explain to you what had to be done? You have to water them from a certain trough.
Mm-hmm.
Did he explain all that to you?
Yep. He said he has no knowledge of how to maintain and care for horses. That was all on us. As long as we pay our rent and take care of everything, that will be that.
Okay. So that's February. How much money did you pay him in February?
$925.
For the two horses.
Correct.
Were the horses there in March?
I think was when we moved in beginning of March, or middle of March.
Do you remember the date?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the date?
The 13th is when they actually came with the two deputies to take their possessions.
So they were there for a month.
5 weeks. She was supposed to come in mid-January, but postponed.
Just a second. The lease says it starts February the 12th.
Correct.
That's what the lease says. They left March 13th.
Correct.
Okay. And you paid the defendant how much?
3 payments of $925.
Okay. February, we have $925.
Correct.
And you are several days over into the second month. Did you pay the second month?
We did initially.
You made 3 payments. I'd like you to explain to me the third payment.
We had to pay the first month of board, which was the $925, then the $925 for a deposit.
Okay. So a $925 was a security deposit.
Correct. And then an initial $925 for the first month of February.
Okay, so $925 was a security. Is that correct?
It is correct.
Okay.
It was not paid at the proper time. Neither was the first lease payment.
$925 was security deposit.
Yes.
2 months board.
Correct.
Now, it didn't work out.
Oh, it's way more than didn't work out.
I just said, I don't care. Actually, the idea is to keep it simple. It didn't work out. You were happy to see them go?
I initiated termination in the lease
Right.
pursuant to the
And
lease.
they were happy to go.
Apparently, yes.
So now it's a matter of money. That's all it's about. I mean, you're not married to each other. You don't share grandchildren together. So it's a matter of why they don't get their security deposit back. Do you understand? You stayed over the second month, so you had to pay the second month, but $925 is security deposit. And there's no reason, unless there was some sort of violation of the lease, why you're not entitled to the $925 back, which is your security.
There was also criminal animal abuse during the 5 weeks that they were there.
Just to say, what does that have to do with this lawsuit?
It has to do
I mean,
with why their lease was terminated.
I don't care.
Okay. That's fine.
They want their money back. They don't want the pasture back. And I understand from your papers you believe that they weren't adequately caring for the animals, and because they weren't caring for the animals ate up your pasture. I don't know. You're going to show me what you're alleging in order to avoid returning their 925 security deposit.
It's part of it.
Ball's in your court.
Okay?
Security deposit. 925 security deposit, to which they would otherwise be entitled to unless you have proof to me that their horses damage your property.
So you want to go directly to the damages?
I want to go directly to the damages.
Okay,
I
heard.
This is my life. It's fleeting by so fast.
Someone please give this to
I
the
just
judge.
want you to show me what the damages.
Okay. I guess I'm not going to refer to my notes. I'll just do it on the fly. Okay. The very first
Shh.
Oh, don't explain?
No,
I'm sorry.
I don't want you to explain anything. They're pictures. Oh, there's something in the packet that you just gave me. Would you please show this to Gabrielle and ask her if that's her signature?
Your Honor, may I speak?
Shh. No.
That means no.
That's a no.
Okay.
Is that your signature is my question.
Yes.
Okay. When did you sign that?
The day we left.
The day you left.
Correct.
Okay, and this shall serve as your receipt for the month's rent of $925 and the deposit $925. It will also serve as a receipt for your final month's payment of March 2023. We have agreed that the deposit is forfeited to cover some of the damage done by the horses, right? And you signed that.
Correct.
Well, then you have no case. What do you want?
I want to tell you my side, please.
You want to tell me about what?
This
Your Honor.
whole incident.
I don't care about the whole incident.
Your Honor.
Okay.
Just a second. You don't understand. This is a contract. She signed a lease as a contract. She's 21 years old. In order to leave, you left. You were both happy to be done with each other. Your daughter, who is the lessee, signed this agreeing for the 2 months' rent and to forfeit the $925 deposit. And there's an acknowledgement that the horses did damage to the property. That's it. So you have no case.
Does it say acknowledgement?
What?
Does it say that, acknowledgement, or if there was damage to the property?
No, it says we have agreed that the deposit is forfeit to cover some of the damage done by the horses. Now, you're really being so annoying to me.
I'm
just about.
I'm
Just a second.
preparing my next piece of paper, that's all.
Just a second. Don't prepare anything. So far, you're not losing. The only thing you're losing is my patience.
Gabrielle and Angela Alfredson claim their stable landlord, Glenn Garatiano, is wrongfully keeping their rental fees and deposit. Glenn is countersuing for property damage caused by their horses.
Okay. We have agreed that the deposit is forfeit to cover some of the damage done by the horses. Now, if I were you, one word I would have absolutely eliminated is some of the damage, because that says to you, bing! It's not to liquidate the damages done by the horses. It says to cover some of the damage done by the horses, which is his counterclaim. So the fact that this didn't work out and you were unhappy is absolutely irrelevant to a lawsuit. Do you understand? Irrelevant. Now, did you and your tenant have any discussion about what damage you allege that the horses did?
Yes.
Was that the day that she left?
No, ma'am, it was prior to that, numerous occasions. Can you imagine I have something important? Just please, sir, ma'am, I have something important to show you.
Sure. Give
Can I
it
please
give it
have
to
just a
Kevin and
little
answer give it to Kevin and answer my question.
I shall.
Great. Do you have anything in writing, emails, etc., to demonstrate to me, other than verbal conversations, that the tenant was made aware of damages that the horses would...
43 pieces of evidence
I
was
would
gonna
like, just a
present
second.
does have that evidence that you're
a
asking
second.
for.
Everything that you're going to hand me in that 43 pages, I just want to let you know, because when I go through 43 pages, if all of it is not relevant to the damage and the amount of damage that the horses did, that's not going to put me in a good mood. So make sure you're sending me all that stuff. Hold on a
This is
second.
important prior
Hold
to
on.
even looking at that receipt. If you'd please refer to the last page of the summons and complaint.
What are you showing me?
What I'm showing you, ma'am, is that the summons and complaint was filed by the father
I don't care.
No, oh no, ma'am. This is filing an illegal court document. I don't know why you don't care.
I don't care because I wish I could care. For your sake, I want to care. But for the purposes of this case, I don't care. All I want to see from you is the damage that you are alleging that was done to your property in excess of $925, which you kept as security deposit. That's all I want to see. I don't want you to tell me that her underwear doesn't match, that the wrong person filed the summons and complaint. I'm not interested. Very simple. Do you understand? Do you understand what I said to the plaintiff, sir? Did you understand that? Don't hand me all that stuff.
I'm not. I'm saying it's in folder 4 right in front of you. Those are the damages. The damage to the grass in front of all of the
No, that's not what I asked you for. If you follow instructions, I said to you, I want to see in writing, which you said you had, notification to your tenant prior to March 13th that damage was being caused to the property. And you said numerous. I said, show me. You said, I have 43 pages. I said, I'm not reading 43 pages unless it's all relevant. And if I read 43 pages and if it's not all relevant, it's going to put me in a bad mood, which I'm getting to.
Quickly, I see that.
Yes, because this is a lawsuit. It's not a kvetching contest.
It's not about fetching.
Do you understand? I didn't let her kvetch. I said, this is a lawsuit. You want your money back. You signed the document that says you're not getting your money back. That's what you signed.
The damage estimates are in the back of that folder.
And I told you, I'm not asking you for estimates.
Okay. You're asking me for communication between me and them. It was mostly verbal.
So then the answer is you don't have anything in writing.
There may be text messages. I didn't review them.
Oh, okay.
But there were text messages regarding her trough that was leaking, and she just ignored the text. She ignored text often.
I actually don't care.
I have pictures of the damage to the stables in there.
Yeah, $925. You got it. It's covered. You counterclaim's dismissed. We're done. This case is over.
This court is adjourned.
The man was very harassing to me the whole time. I didn't get to show any of my text messages.
She was a week late with the rent. She signed the lease, brought the horses, and then, oh, I forgot the rent.
Into the second week we were there, I told my daughter, something's wrong with this man. We got to get the horses out.
A week later, she comes back with the rent. I'm like, where's the deposit? She goes, oh, I didn't have the deposit. I'll get you that in a week.
He wanted me off the property. He said, I want no trespassing ordinance on you. I said, can I not feed my horses? No, get off the property.
These people were bananas, and they were damaging horses.
Good example out there of we here in court hear legal arguments, not emotional arguments. It can be, a therapeutic experience for the litigants to be able to get their story across or share the underpinnings of the story or what really went on is something that we hear a lot in court. But it doesn't matter how many color-coded files you have if they don't contain evidence that are pertinent to the legal argument, not the emotional argument. We don't want to see them. We don't want them.
Especially in this case.
It was cut and dry.
In this case, there were contracts.
Yeah, signed.
There were two
no
contracts,
argument.
a lease and a termination of that lease with the terms.
Yep.
And there was only one word, Sarah, and that word was some.
And that allowed him to even bring the countersuit in the first place.
But it was sort of slick, the word some. If you're going to forfeit your $925 deposit, and what he's primarily complaining about was that the horses ate all his grass in his meadow. Right, for $925, you can buy an awful lot of grass seed.
Sure.
They're not about to build him a whole new piece of property. Didn't work out. There was a contract. Sort of.
This is Waynesworth. All parties, please step forward.
Susan McKaylee is suing her neighbor, Ed Wadsworth, for towing fees and car damage.
You know the defendant through a friend of yours.
I do.
She is a significant other partner.
Right now they're at roommate status, but...
Roommates.
Correct.
Of a friend of yours.
Correct.
Some time ago, you found a dog or rescued a dog and gave it to your friend and the defendant.
They had found the dog and rescued it.
Okay, so they found the dog.
Yes.
What kind of dog?
Kind of a, you could imagine him pulling a sled. I have a picture of him.
I'd like to take a look.
All right.
No.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
You can hand that to her.
Oh, he's beautiful.
Oh, he's wonderful.
He's beautiful. And tell me, you live with somebody as a roommate?
Yeah, she's my girlfriend, actually.
Girlfriend. Okay. And that's the girlfriend who's also your friend?
Yes, very close.
How long have you been together?
Like 12 years.
What?
I know. But I've been there and done that.
You were afraid to even say that. 12 minutes, 12 hours, 12 days, 12 years. She's going to get me for that one. Okay. Is this the first dog that you had together?
We had a golden retriever that lived to be 16 years old and died this last summer. And then a friend of mine, he was driving to work one day and he saw what eventually became Snowy running around. So he rescued him.
When was this?
6-7 months at least.
6-7 months ago?
Yes, beautiful animal, just wonderful animal.
I see he's your screensaver.
Oh yeah, I know it. In the morning, we'd let him out to do his business because we live in 20.
No, we're not there yet,
sorry.
sir. There was an incident that occurred when the dog got loose and you couldn't find him. How long had you had him before he got loose?
6 to 7 months.
Well, this is her
the date.
complaint.
Yes.
She said it was January 2023 and you got him in December of 2022. You have a dog of your own.
It's my roommate's dog, and they're the same age.
Okay.
And
do they play together?
Yes, we use them, we socialize them.
May I
together.
see the photograph?
Yeah. Same age. And wanted to see how they socialized together, and they did great. They became great buddies.
Oh. They're wonderful together. Anyway, something happened in January, and you called the plaintiff and told her that Snowy had gotten out and he was missing and he didn't come back. Was he out overnight or just part of the... He was out overnight. Did you call her in the morning?
No, it was later in the afternoon. It was getting towards...
Okay, so he had been gone one whole night?
Yes.
And in the morning and afternoon of the next day?
Yes.
The McKaylee claims her neighbor, Ed Wadsworth, owes for towing fees and vehicle damage.
Okay, had you been looking for him during that period?
I drove for hours.
Okay, and then you called her and asked for her help?
Yes.
I assume you asked for her help and told her to bring her dog, or this dog, because they were friends.
Yes.
Okay, he called you and said...
Well, I believe it was his girlfriend, my friend, our mutual friend, that asked to...
Just a second. So it wasn't the defendant who asked you. It was your girlfriend. But when you met, was your girlfriend there?
No, she was not.
Just he was there?
Correct.
Okay. And where did you meet?
It was outside his property.
Where was your girlfriend?
She was in the house. She's got some physical disabilities, and it's a struggle to get out in the snow for her.
Okay. So just the two of you, and each of you has a truck?
Correct. I was also with my roommate. She came as well because the dog is actually hers.
Okay.
And I had the truck.
And you have...
I have a Honda Element, an old Honda Element.
Okay. So this is the case very briefly. I don't have to get into any more facts with you. The facts are relatively simple. Your dog got lost. Your girlfriend called her girlfriend and said, could you help find Snowy? Bring your dog with you because, maybe that will be helpful in finding him. He's been out a day and a night, and you volunteered to go.
Yes.
And you went, and your car got stuck in the mud.
Correct.
And was damaged.
Correct.
And you think he's responsible, and you want him to pay for that?
Yes. Well, there's a little bit more to it.
You tell me why he's responsible.
Well, this is a case of no good deeds go unpunished. The thing is that we asked him to come help tow the vehicle out. He said, sure. He also got stuck in that process. And then when I called the tow truck came, pulled him out, and then he just took off. No thank yous, no covering his expenses, and just left.
Oh, covering what expenses?
Covering the expense of the tow. And there was some damage to my...
Forget the damage to your car.
Okay.
He didn't even ask you to go. His girlfriend asked you to go.
Okay, well,
he didn't even ask you, even if he had. Your car got stuck. He wasn't driving your car, was he, when it got stuck?
No.
Okay, you were driving your car when it got stuck.
Correct.
Right. And he also got stuck.
Yes.
Okay, so legally there's no liability for him to pay for the damage to your car if your car was in fact damaged. I can't even think of a scenario where your girlfriend and his girlfriend would have been responsible. Your car got stuck in the snow. You're right, no good deed goes unpunished. It ended up costing you some money. But we're going to talk about the towing. Could I see the towing bill?
Yes.
Thank you. Say what? Okay. So, Mr. Wadsworth, this is my question to you, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
I read the complaint, I read the answer. Your truck got stuck in the mud as well.
That's correct. I asked her, I said, how's the ground? And she said it was frozen. But where she wasn't frozen. I pulled like crazy.
And who called the tow truck?
I did.
Were you able to extricate yourself without the tow truck?
No.
No. The tow truck had to tow you out as well as the plaintiff.
That's correct. But
Okay, sir. So there's a tow truck bill for $330. Why shouldn't you be responsible for half of that?
Okay, well, the tow truck driver.
Don't tell me what the tow truck driver told you, sir.
Anyway.
Just no, not anyway.
So
I want you to tell me, not a so. The tow truck came and towed both of you out of the mud.
That's right.
Now, there's a bill here for $330 that you say you paid in full.
Yes.
And I'm asking you why you shouldn't be responsible for half of that tow truck bill, not her car damage. You're not responsible for her car damage, but you tell me why you're not responsible for half the tow truck bill.
The tow truck couldn't get to her through me because it was such a mess. He had a long cable, and that's eventually how he pulled her out.
How did you get out?
He pulled me a little bit.
Because you couldn't get out yourself.
And then I drove the rest of the way.
You know the 3 most difficult words for a man to say?
Well, besides, I'm sorry.
How about, oh, it was my fault? Or how about, yes, I'm responsible? Or, yeah,
Well,
I'm sorry.
We had offered to use our tow service, which wouldn't have cost anything.
Did you call your tow service?
We called our
And
insurance
just a
company.
second. You called your insurance.
But
Don't
Sue had already
speak.
called this other company.
Don't speak. I already explained to you why he's not responsible for the damage to your car. But you owe her $165. That's half the tow. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Oh, you found the dog. You found the dog. I understand that you didn't find him in time he was injured, but he's home with you now?
Home now.
Good.
Yes. I guess it was a fair judgment.
To me, it was the principle of, rewarding favors and being grateful for help.
The tires spun with 4-wheel drive, and then I got stuck.
In the end, the dog was found. He's safe. He's happy, and I'm grateful for that.
The judgment was okay.
I would do it again.
I liked the plaintiff's initial statement that no good deed goes unpunished. And this was a pretty easy case to split down the middle. Obviously, if you have a tow bill for 2 cars, one of them's yours, one of them's hers, split it, that's what you owe.
Easy.
So that was easy. But yeah, the rest of it is no good deed goes unpunished. I like that.
Yeah. And she was right. But I thought he was adorable when I said, how long have you been together? And he knew he was going to get it. And very quietly he said,
One of those.
12 years.
Well, 2 beautiful dogs and seems
Right.
like a nice life, little
Yes.
bit of property, maybe get a fence.
He had a fence because sadly, I read the complaint and I know the dog
didn't
is
see
back
some of the other
home,
evidence.
but the dog got stuck on the fence and they had to amputate a leg.
Yeah, the chain, the small squared fence.
Right, I saw that and it was sad, but otherwise the dog is fine, healthy. They're complaining that they got some T-shirts, but you didn't send them half of the ones that they ordered.
There were a lot of changing designs that took up our time, that took up our money, that we didn't charge him for. That is not our fault. We don't make the design. I don't know if that makes sense.
That sounds like a yada, yada, yada.
This is Judy Justice. Bailiff Cassandra Britt is standing in for Bailiff Kevin Roscoe, and Law Clerk Alexi Mincer is sitting in for Law Clerk Sarah Rose. Isaiah Kamchan and Brandon Uloa are suing their former supplier, Manuel Garcia, for the cost of a T-shirt order.
Order in the court. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case number 3072, Kamchan Ulola versus Garcia.
Thank you. Who is Mr. Kamchan? You were starting up a business, T-shirt business.
Correct.
The defendant was also in business. He makes shirts. I assume you were having them made to sell them either online or at events.
Correct.
You don't have a store, is that right?
Online store.
Online. What's the name of your company?
Risen Athletics.
Reason?
Risen.
Risen. Spell it.
RIZIN space athletics.
And where are they incorporated?
Ceres, California.
In the state of California.
In the state of California.
And it's a corporation. You have a license. You've incorporated it.
Correct.
Here.
There's a website, about 9 items of clothing.
May I see it, please? Make it go. Could you go back to, okay, I just want to see where they order them from. Great. And what's the name of your company, sir?
MFP Studios.
MFP Studios.
Correct.
Where are you located?
Los Angeles.
How long have you been in business, Mr. Kamchan?
About a year and a half.
Did you make any money the first year you were in business?
Yes.
How much?
Approximately 10,000, a little over.
Nice. In that first year, did you get any merchandise from Mr. Garcia?
We did.
So you made some money from the merchandise?
Not from his clothing, actually.
Not from his. What other company do you deal with?
We did wholesaling through Champion, the website.
Champion is a wholesaler? I thought they were a retailer.
So they have a website where you can wholesale and buy a bunch of garments that they allow you to reprint on and sell. So that's what we did originally.
I found an Instagram page for MFP Studios. The website is coming soon.
I have the website currently closed right now.
Currently closed.
Yeah.
You what?
Yeah, our website opens and closes like periodically, so right now it's actually closed. But if you would like, I can go and open it for you guys so you guys can take a look at it.
I want to know why it closes, Mr. Garcia. What does that mean?
So usually the way that my company works is that we do custom manufacturing for specific brands, so it's very customized. But at times I do produce blanks on my own where I'll put on my website. Currently we don't have any, so my website is closed until we produce them and then we post them on our website. I don't know if that makes sense.
Doesn't make sense. How much money did the plaintiffs send you to produce T-shirts for them? How much money
did the T-shirts?
How much money did the plaintiffs send you to produce T-shirts for them? And I'd like to see the order.
Okay.
Can I see all the papers?
Would be the invoices for the T-shirts.
Thank you. Did they pay all of these invoices?
Yes.
Lex, would you add up these invoices for me, please? How many T-shirts were they supposed to have?
Total should have been approximately 320.
Is that correct?
That is correct. That's correct.
How many did they receive? That's what this case is about.
Correct. They should have received at least 180.
So about half.
Correct.
It's not true.
Just a second.
Okay.
And you got paid.
Correct.
Well, at least for that number of shirts, they get their money back, right? Duh. For the number of T-shirts that you didn't send them, they get their money back.
Well, there was a couple other things that were taking into place, so that's
like
kind of
what?
the issue. So there was a lot of changes that were being made.
Hold on a second, Lexi.
7996.
7996 is the total of all those invoices. Great. All I'm saying to you, Mr. Garcia, this is the case that we hear about. They're complaining that they got some T-shirts, but they were not what they ordered. You acknowledge that they didn't get half the T-shirts at all, and you didn't make them, and your website is now offline.
Well, that happens like every...
I don't care.
Yeah, okay.
I don't care. I don't know any other company that takes their website offline. I mean, I don't understand that.
I could give you a list of a couple.
I don't want you to give me a list of any. I want you to tell me why they're not entitled to at least half their money back.
So like I was stating, there was a bunch of other changes. So them not being happy with the garments that they received, that at the end of the day, I can't control. That is what they've ordered. I sent them pictures. I'm
talking about the ones that they didn't receive, sir, not the ones that they did.
Okay.
They were not happy, which they will tell me about the half that they received. You acknowledge that you didn't send them half of the ones that they ordered.
Correct.
Well, why should they pay for those? That's what I'm asking you to answer.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm trying to explain. So
try to explain it to me so that Alexi understands it. He's much smarter than I am.
So when it comes down to custom manufacturing, there's a lot of other components that come into place There were a lot of changing designs. There was a lot of remaking of screens for us to get the design onto the t-shirt that we had to do, that took up our time, that took up our money, that we didn't charge him for. So that's kind of where everything in terms of like the money goes to, is what we're saying. It's like, okay, if you're gonna be making all these changes and then you're not happy with it, if you can see, I have pictures of me sending them a print of the t-shirt and them saying, oh, the print looks different. At the end of the day, we don't work on the designs. We don't change their designs. Whatever they send us is what we put on the t-shirt. If it doesn't come right on the t-shirt, that is not our fault. We don't make the design.
That sounds like a yada, yada, yada.
Isaiah Kamchan and Brandon Ulloa claim their former supplier, Manuel Garcia, did not properly fulfill their t-shirt order and owes them a refund.
Let me see if I can give you the Reader's Digest of what he was saying and tell me if that's what you understood. Would you do that for me? They ordered 320 t-shirts. For all intents and purposes, and because of our easy math, he sent them half. They paid for 320. What he's saying is because they kept making changes, they spent more time on the half that they got. So they didn't feel that they had to send them the other half. Is that what you're getting?
Yes.
That's a duh. Do you understand? That's a duh. You know, I'm trying to think of an analogous situation for you. I'm a dentist's daughter, and I know that sometimes in my father's business, somebody would come in and he'd look at a tooth and he'd say, you know what? It's a simple filling, you know, and I'm going to charge so much. And then he started to work. Patient said, okay, you know, that's a reasonable figure, and he started to work. And all of a sudden he found, well, there was a little something else in there that he really had to do in order to do what he said he could do for 20 bucks. Mm-hmm. And so it took him more time. You think he charged the patient for that? No, he didn't. So you at least owe them half of what they sent you. They sent you $8,000. Let's make it nice and easy because I'm an easy girl. And you didn't send them half the t-shirts. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to talk about the t-shirts that you did send them. Because are we finished with the ones that you didn't?
Yep.
Yep. Now we're going to go to the ones that they did send, and you have to show me why they were unsatisfactory. Pick it up.
Perfect.
So this is the sample that we received from him. So like the way samples work is he'll send us the clothing, we'll A-OK it. So we A-OK this. This is a large, by the way. Everything's perfect, everything's great.
Okay, good.
So let me show you the XL and the small.
So this right here I'm holding is an XL. The difference. And you want to see another thing?
Smaller.
This is what I'm holding is a small. We ordered 4 small sizes: small, medium, large, and XL.
Hold on, can I see the smalls?
Yeah.
Can I see?
Oh, so sorry, so sorry. Here you go.
No. Well, this could be a small, a big small, but small. Can I see the extra small, please?
Extra large.
Extra large?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same as X size.
They're the same size. The small and the extra large, if you hold them up together, they're exactly the same size.
Lexi, hold these up together, would you please? Let me see. He said they're the same size. I don't think so. Could I? One certainly looked bigger to me, but not a small and an extra large. Okay, now this is what I'd like you to do, Cassandra. I want you to send these over to the defendant, and I'd like him to explain to me why these are the same size. One is labeled small, one is labeled extra large. This has nothing to do with a change of design. Mm-hmm. This has to do with almost math, which, as we all know, is not my strong suit. Okay, so now give me an explanation, sir. This has nothing to do with changing of the design. That has to do with 2 t-shirts that are exactly the same. One says small, one says extra large. Explain it.
This is a very simple fix, so there was just an issue with the tag and the labeling.
Just a second. That's what you sent them.
Yeah, that's
Just a
exactly
second.
my explanation. No, well, this is for the actual garment. What I was referring to was the print on the design.
No,
This
no,
is
no.
the-
I'm talking about the actual garment. Did you
Correct.
send that to them?
I did send
Just
it.
a second. You sent that to them with a label that was mislabeled.
Correct.
Okay. How many of the mislabeled T-shirts did you send them?
It's a very common mistake in manufacturing.
Don't give me.
I'm not sure. They didn't give me a number of how many.
How
were
many?
mixed up.
How many?
Exactly 73.
You see, what the problem, Mr. Garcia, is they can't sell those online because if somebody calls and orders a small and they send them a small, it's an extra large. Or if somebody calls and orders an extra large and they get it and it's got a small,
And that could be easily fixed by just changing
who
the tag.
cares?
Yeah.
You know, my face can be easily fixed.
Both.
Not so easily anymore.
These are all just fixed.
Yeah.
I mean, they can all be fixed.
Yeah.
When it happens, it doesn't always like have to be sent out.
Yada, 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 yada. Okay, so half you didn't send them, and 73 you sent them wrong. Of the other half, 73 you sent
Labeled
them wrong.
Correct.
You sent them wrong that they can't resell as you sent them online. I mean, they could send them to a pop-up store and sell them for nothing.
Or
And
donate
say,
them.
you know, you try it on and see whether it fits you, but you can't sell them online. Otherwise, their business would be destroyed. Okay, what about the rest? Now we're finished with the sizes.
He has claimed to sent us over 180 shirts. That's incorrect. He sent us 123 exactly.
Do you have any proof that you sent them 180 shirts?
I had them in text messages, but I don't have that phone. But I mean, I'm sure
I
that.
mean, everybody that has no case has no phone.
I mean, I have.
Mr. Garcia, everybody
have
that
proof
has
that I
no
sent them
proof,
pictures, yes, I have
everyone
photos.
then show it to me that you sent them 180 shirts.
Well, I don't have all 180 in the picture. I mean, I don't know if you'll be able to count them, but.
You want me to count them? You're
Not
in business. Mr. Garcia.
You want to show it?
No, you're in business, sir. That's not the way you run a business. 120 they sent, and of the 120, how many were you able to sell?
Out of the 120.
Just a second. And out of the 120, does that include the 73 that were wrong size?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that includes.
So
the
we're
70
left with only 50 that weren't labeled incorrectly.
How many shirts did he send you that you were able to sell
0. We sold none of his shirts.
because they were mislabeled or you didn't
Mislabeled
get
or
them?
misprinted and didn't get them.
Great. Do you have any text messages between the two of you?
So many.
Anything in specific?
I'd like you to show me one where you say to him, we cannot sell these shirts, they're the wrong size.
We'll show you the demand letter. So we sent him a demand letter, hoping that he'd still like try to solve it outside of court, but he never replied to it and just never sent us
So
anything.
here it'd be us telling him that the items received were not as promised, and the other side would be the lawsuit issue.
Okay. You say in this demand letter that you are requesting, first of all, he doesn't communicate with you when you send him information back and forth. So you say, sir, since you do not wish to communicate us, here's an official demand letter.
Yes.
You say that you paid him $15,986.
Correct.
Well, that's not what your lawsuit is here.
Isaiah Kamchan and Brandon Ulloa have accused their former supplier, Manuel Garcia, of owing them a refund after sending the wrong T-shirts.
Okay, did he send you any T-shirts?
No T-shirts.
So how much did you pay him?
All in all, minus the setup fees that we're also suing for, it is exactly.
No.
Oh, sorry.
I want to know where the $15,986 comes from.
So in this order, we did order 320 pairs of shirts, but we also ordered 240 pairs of shorts that we're not suing for.
Why?
He fulfilled that.
He fulfilled the short section.
He filled the short
Yeah,
section.
fulfilled the shorts.
Is that what's on your website for sale?
Yes.
Yes.
The shorts.
The shorts.
The shorts. So it's just the
shirts,
T-shirts.
yeah.
Shirts.
So you did fulfill the order for the shorts.
Correct.
Do you have a pair of those shorts for me to see? I would just like to take a look at them.
No.
We did not because we weren't aware. We weren't suing for those.
No, I understand that. Did he get the shorts with the same screening as on those, or are they different?
Different screen.
Different design.
So different setup fees, different screens. We paid for that. We're not suing for that portion.
We have
Just
invoices for them though.
Can I see?
Yeah. Shorts.
Of course, there were shorts on their website, right?
It might be in there.
Are they blue?
Right there.
Yeah,
Blue,
they're
red,
blue,
and black.
red, and black.
Blue, red, and black. And they just have a little design on
Yeah,
it.
correct.
These are
Okay.
all invoices, but if you want to show a specific
And they were
shorts,
okay.
they're gonna be
Yeah, they're
here.
okay.
Okay, well, they're on your website, so you're selling them.
Yeah, so that's gonna be shorts for prints, and we also
The T-shirts are not on their website, correct?
There are some. There.
Can I
okay,
see?
There are two. One T-shirt.
Yeah, that's not it.
One T-shirt down.
And that's not it. Okay, so those are not on the website.
And,
Got it.
And one other, but that's also.
That's not it. That's certainly not those T-shirts, not the same screen.
something missing in there is the invoice for the shorts material. We are suing for the screens in that. That's the only reason that invoice is here, because he charged us for owning of screens and films that he told us we had to pay for that we owned and we never received as well.
Screens and
Yeah, so when
tell me, explain that to me.
So when making clothing, you pay for garments and then you have to pay for screens and film. So screens is like these big metal square frames, and then you put a
Did
film
you
on
pay
it.
for those?
We did, which are in those invoices. The only invoice we're missing is our shorts.
Did you receive those screens?
Well, I made them, so yeah, I had them.
Did you charge them?
Yes, I did charge them for them.
And where are they?
Well, we don't turn in the screen, so so the way that screen printing works is that when you burn screen, you hold them for only 2 months. You don't store them for months and months on end. So after 2 months, if they're not being used, if we're not printing with them, we recycle them.
Mm-hmm.
The films is just a piece of paper that I do have handy. So
he told us that we own them and we could receive them whenever we want them for future references. So that's why we had asked for the.
So you destroy them?
Correct.
Okay. So there we get to the $9,000. Actually, $9,100. Are you, Mr. Garcia, is your company incorporated in California? I forgot the answer to that question. Is not an answer.
No, I mean, I'm self-employed.
You're self-employed. You have a company, you said.
Yeah.
Well, if you have a company, then you have to be incorporated.
Well, I have like an LLC. Is that what you're referring to?
Or an LLC. Do you have an LLC?
I do have an LLC, yes.
Do you have what's the name of it?
MFP Studios.
Do you find that registered in the state of California? Is it registered, sir?
It shouldn't, yeah, but it probably won't be under that name. It would be under All Hills.
Under what?
All Hills.
So a different name.
I have the paperwork. I don't know. I mean, doing business as MFP Studios. Why? That's just the way that I was set up. So when I got an LLC, it was through one of my business partners at first. So then he just gave me
How many business partners do you have?
I just have one.
Who is
Well, he's
that?
not even a business partner. He just gave me the LLC so I could use it.
Great.
Yeah.
We're finished here. You haven't used his services. I can't say company. You haven't used his services since
No.
2022.
Correct.
Okay. Got it. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $9,100. We're finished.
Thank you, Your
Case
Honor.
is now closed. Court is adjourned.
She sided with them, and I mean, I just got to keep doing my business and just keep going, man.
I like that she was able to see that he was clearly taking advantage of us, so I'm happy she saw the same thing we saw.
It's just something that happens in this business. It happens more often than you think. Overseas, there's a bunch of cases. I don't know if she's familiar with the business, or I'm not sure. I know that it happens often. It was an easy fix. They could have still sold the shirts, but I just think they just didn't want to do it.
Why would he bother sending these knowing we never agreed on it?
If you've really been in the business, there's ways to do it where you can still sell it and make your money back to where you have a good relationship with your manufacturer.
Never tried working with us. Like, he would barely even respond. Like, he actually stopped even communicating with me because I threatened to sue him once. So then he started communicating with him.
But if, you come and you're just, I want a full refund, it's going to be very hard to even fix the issue versus just, it's more of a fix the issue thing than get everything done all over again.
But we tried our best for a whole year. Nothing was happening. So that's when we're like, you know what? We can't let somebody walk all over us like this because it's our company. It's going to be detrimental if we wait even longer because it was past a year. So that's when we decided to sue him.
The constant changes, they weren't comprehending with my time schedules in terms of how I did things, and it didn't work out. They're also a long distance client. My clients usually come into my warehouse. We're more hands-on, so I don't think it's a good fit.
Definitely take baby steps, live and learn. You're gonna fall a little bit. It's just how you get back up.
A big lesson learned, for sure.
Rise to the occasion. That's what we always say. We'll be back better than ever.
My biggest takeaway was the power of credibility. Those plaintiffs came in, they knew exactly how much they paid for each item, they knew exactly what they received, and they had receipts to back it up. And when you have your day in court, it's important you have your arms fully around your own case.
Yeah. And it only made the defendant look that more implausible.
Jasmine Brendley is suing her future stepdaughter, Nyaria Williams, for defamation and the cost of 3 tires.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge.
How are you?
Case number 3084, Brandley versus Williams.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Brantley, you are in a relationship with the defendant's mother.
That is correct.
For how long?
Over a year now.
I assume that when you met the defendant's mother, the defendant was living with her mom.
That is correct, Your Honor.
It is your claim that at some point the defendant and you developed an acrimonious relationship, and that as a result of that, she was asked to leave the home, and in retaliation for that, she slashed your tires.
She was never asked to leave the home. She voluntarily decided that she was going to leave the home.
Let's say that that's a given, but it is your claim that as a result of leaving the home, and there's no question she left the home because you were there.
We weren't sure exactly what the reason was. She didn't make a reason as to why she was leaving the home.
She left, and it is your claim that after she left, she slashed 3 of your tires.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Ms. Williams says she did not slash your tires, but that she still has property in the house that she shared with her mother before the 2 of you were in a relationship. Do you live together now?
Yes, ma'am.
When did the 2 of you move in together?
I moved into the home, I want to say the exact time frame was around April of 2023.
And when did you move out of the home, Ms. Williams?
I moved out June 28th of 2023.
So a couple of months later.
Yes.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding your leaving the home.
My mother texted me and said her girlfriend was feeling uncomfortable and she wanted to focus on her and her relationship, and I needed to go and focus on myself.
You have that email. I'd like to see it. Kevin.
Okay, so he's right there.
So you had this discussion with your mother, and what I'm gathering is that you and the plaintiff started to have some nasty texts back and forth.
There was no back and forth, Your Honor. She was just texting me nasty
And you
texts.
have those texts?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to take a look at them.
And she also had
your
other people
response
texting
to
me.
your mother is that bum paying bills?
Yes.
Okay. And then your mother tells you right now, time for you to go.
Yes.
And then you say, okay, I just want to grab my TV and bear.
Yeah, I want to at least grab that for tonight, and then I would have came back and got the
Just to
rest
say,
of
well, that's what I need. Need to unlock the door so I can grab my TV and bear. I assume that's a teddy bear, not an animal?
No, it's a bear.
Okay, let's see the text.
And I never responded to these texts, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
These are just phone messages. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. She put my number on social media, and people were texting me asking for sexual favors.
Just a second.
No problem, Your
You'll
Honor.
get there.
I apologize.
You'll get there.
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
so you moved out.
Yes.
Now tell me about the tires.
She was moving out, had her things. We know she carries a knife. She's always showing it and bragging
Just a
about
second.
it.
She acknowledges she came back to the house with a knife. She acknowledges that. Is that correct?
Yes.
What kind of a knife?
It's a small pocket knife.
Show me. This I don't understand.
Yeah. Oh,
I
my
want
bad.
you to show me. Is it this size
this
when it's
big.
opened? So
Yes.
it's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, just a little
Then
bit bigger than that.
It's a little.
Just a small one that you can fit in your pocket. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty big knife. Okay, so you came back to get your things, and you had the knife with you.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So we did not confront her while she was getting her things. We looked out the window. We could see her carrying the bags as she was dragging them down the walkway past the apartment building. That was maybe about 1 a.m. We woke up for work, I say maybe around 6:45 time frame. We go outside. The driver's side tire was completely flattened, and the left side passenger front and the rear passenger side tire, they both had tire slashes in them, and we had to get them all 3 replaced. They were unrepairable due to the puncture in those tires, Your Honor.
Okay.
And I have pictures and documentation for that as well.
The issue is not whether your tires were punctured, but whether you have proof that the defendant did it. The tires were fine when you went to sleep.
Yes, ma'am.
And then The defendant came after midnight,
Yes, ma'am.
collected her things in suitcases.
Mostly like bags, not really suitcases.
How did you get into the house that night? It's not an answer. Did you have a key?
Yes.
Okay. And nobody had changed the locks.
They changed it the next day.
Nobody had changed the locks on you then?
Then, no.
So you were able to come and get things?
Yes.
So now you have to give me proof that she slashed your tires. You can imagine that she did, but what evidence do you have that she slashed your tires?
Your Honor, no one knows, other than the family, that I was living with them at the time in that area. I have no outstanding confrontational beef. I don't have any problems with anyone in the
anybody
neighborhood.
else?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
That's circumstantial, but insufficient in the law that she's the only one that you had a beef with, the fact that she was there. It's not enough evidence for any court, even a court where the quantum of proof is little, that she did in fact slash your tires. The evidence that you have is that you don't have a beef with anybody else, correct?
I don't have any, I didn't have any
And you couldn't think of anybody else who would want to do that, and she was there in the vicinity that night.
Within the time frame, yes, ma'am, Your Honor. She left maybe around 1 o'clock. By 6 in the morning, the tires were slashed.
Well, you weren't out at 1 o'clock in the morning. You went to sleep at what time?
Maybe around 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m.
And then you got up at 6?
Yes, ma'am.
But you hadn't been outside. When did you park the car?
I'm not sure the exact time, Your Honor.
Was it before dinner or after dinner?
Probably before dinner.
And you have dinner at what time?
More than likely, maybe around 10:45 p.m.
10:45?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so your car was parked before 10 o'clock, and the next time you saw it was 6 in the morning. Okay, well, that's a big window. I can't ask her whether or not she slashed your tires. She's going to say no, right?
Jasmine Brandley is suing her future stepdaughter, Nairia Williams, for defamation and the cost of 3 tires. Nairia is countersuing Jasmine for her belongings and lost wages.
I can't ask her whether or not she slashed your tires. She's going to say no, right?
Even if you look at the tires, you can tell the 3, only 1 is flat. If they all got slashed at the same time, they all would be flat.
If it's
But
1 or 3. That's not the point.
I did not know.
She's told others that she did admit to it.
I did not.
Oh, just a second. Who did she admit it to?
Her coworkers, also.
Oh, no.
friends.
Do you have a co-worker here? All I need is a witness.
My witness can confirm.
That she admitted it to them?
To other coworkers as well. They work at the same location, Your Honor.
Did your witness, did she admit to slashing the tires to your witness?
She's admitted to both me and my witness that she would do harm to us and to me.
Is this your witness?
Yes, ma'am. This is my fiance.
Your last name is?
Williams.
Miss Williams, this is your daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
You work at the same place?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Did your daughter admit to you anything about the tire incident?
No.
Okay, sit down. Do you have a police report?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to see the police report.
Yes, ma'am.
Did the police interview any witnesses?
No, ma'am. They said I had to file domestic violence restraining order, which I did.
Was that granted?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
I'd like to see that too.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, you got a temporary restraining order you got on your own. She wasn't present when you first got it.
Correct.
Did you go back for a final hearing?
She never appeared.
So the answer is you went back.
3 times, Your Honor.
And she didn't appear?
She never appeared.
So it was granted on default?
Yes, ma'am.
I never received anything about going to court. The only paperwork they gave me was about the tires. They never presented me with anything.
What I have to tell you is this. Currently, there is a restraining order, that's what she says, against you. And if what you're telling me is you were not properly served, I would move to vacate that order because you're at risk if you don't. I don't actually believe that you weren't notified to come to court on 3 separate occasions. I think that you just decided to be a smart aleck and not go.
I really didn't know.
Really?
I knew my mother had one against me because the cop did mention that when he dropped the paper off.
When your mother filed a restraining order against you, then there was a return date. Did you go to court?
No.
Is not an answer.
Oh,
Did you go to court? Now you're served with a restraining order by your mother, and you got a date. You ignored it.
No, they pushed it back. I didn't get a new court date. That's what I'm saying.
But did you ever go?
Because I had moved.
Just a second. Did you go to the first one?
No.
No, you didn't. You ignored it.
I didn't know about them.
No, you said you knew about the first one. You didn't know
and
about.
then it got moved. I
Just a
wasn't able to
second.
get to it.
You knew about the first one.
Yes.
Yes, and you didn't go.
Yes, it got moved.
Right. No, had nothing to do with moving. If you knew about the first one, you knew you were supposed to be there the first date. You didn't go, and they adjourned it for another date to give you another opportunity to come. And then you said you moved. Then you say you didn't get the second date.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but you got the first date and you ignored it.
The date got moved. That's what I'm saying.
No, courts don't get moved up. They get pushed ahead, not moved up. They get pushed ahead if somebody doesn't appear. That would have been you. Didn't appear the first time. Are you trying to confuse me?
No,
because I'm old?
No, I would never want to do that.
So far, there are 2 protective orders. So your mother has one against you, too.
That's what the cops say, yes.
Your mother has one against you also.
Yeah, that's what the cops said.
Do you have a protective order?
So that's why I don't know what's going on all the way.
Miss Williams, did you file for a protective order against your daughter?
No.
You never did?
No, only my fiance did. I never did.
Oh, okay, fine. Now you can sit down. So the answer is, Miss Williams, your mother never filed for a protective order against you. Okay. Only the plaintiff.
All right.
Okay. So far, we don't have a confession, right?
We had the threats that were made, Your Honor.
To do you harm. That's
what she tried to do.
Okay. Miss Brantley?
Yes, ma'am.
It's not sufficient. I'm telling you, in all probability, Miss Williams, who's a little bit of a wise guy, did in fact slash your tires when she came to get her things. All probability that happened, but there's no evidence.
She admitted to carrying the knife, Your Honor.
Yes, I know. She told me. I saw it. She took a knife with her. It's not enough evidence to connect her to doing the damage to your car.
What about the credible threats, Your Honor? The threats that she made towards me?
You have a protective order against her, correct? If she violated that protective order, you go back to court and you file a violation of the order of protection. And if they find that that's true, she's going to go to jail for contempt of the order. That's your remedy. You have a protective order that lasts until when?
Right now, Your Honor, we're attempting to locate her. She's not responding to the summons officer's calls or texts.
I have not received
You don't
no
know
calls
her
or texts.
address.
Don't speak. What does that mean? Do you currently have a protective order?
It expired temporarily. We could not summon her.
Oh, well, that's...
We don't know where she's located.
Okay.
I went to court 4 different occasions and she wouldn't appear. They could not locate her. And she's aware that we're trying to serve her.
Okay. You're suing her for 3 slash tires, which I can't find in good conscience that she did, even though probably in the back of my mind that I know that she did because there's insufficient proof. And the other cause of action is for defamation.
Correct.
What's the defamation?
She posted my cell number to social media requesting sexual favors. I was receiving calls and texts.
Just a second.
At all hours of the night.
Just a second. Can I see what it was that you're alleging someone posted?
Yes.
May I see it?
And you already have the page that has all the different text messages that were coming from the number. And all these numbers...
Just a second. Just a second. Oh. That text message that you're referring to came from this phone number that's on here?
Yes, ma'am. If you look at all the messages on that one page, Your Honor, they were all from the Chicago area, the same area that is her zip code for her phone.
My mom's zip code, too.
So this is not her phone number that created this text message?
So that is a screenshot that someone sent me of my number being posted on social media.
I understand that.
Yes.
And you have to connect her with that.
They're all coming from the same area code as hers, Your Honor. I don't know anyone else with the area code in that location. I'm not from the Chicago area. And if you look at that one page of evidence, I received over 10, 15, 20 different contacts, all from the Chicago area, asking for sexual favors.
That's, again, probably true. Either she or someone at her behest. But you understand, there's no proof that it came from her number, that it came from Chicago, that the numbers were the same area code. The area code is in Chicago. Is that what you're
Chicago
telling
area,
me?
that is correct.
Chicago area. Well, that's a very big area, madam.
I've never received any calls or text from that area code ever before until the incident. At all hours of the night, Your Honor. I'm not a sex worker, in all respect.
Jasmine Brantley is accusing her future stepdaughter, Nyaria Williams, of defamation and slashing her tires. Nyaria is countersuing Jasmine for her belongings and lost wages.
She's going to get caught eventually. Right now, she's been clever.
She needs to be
but
held
she's
accountable,
not
Your Honor.
that clever. So right now, she's going to get caught. Miss Williams?
Yes.
You submitted paperwork to the court when you came here. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you have any proof that the plaintiff ever threatened you?
I'm sorry.
Proof?
That's right. Is not an answer.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't
Just
find
a second. So you have no proof that the plaintiff ever threatened you?
Correct.
Other than the fact that your mother told you it's time for you to go, other than that, did your mother ever threaten you that you can prove? That's either a yes or a no.
No.
I want your address now. Now.
Okay.
Where?
Jacksonville, Florida. I'm still in Florida.
We will verify that with the clerk who took her papers, and we're going to give you that address. Do you understand?
Yes, sure.
Now you have her address. So if you want to file for a protective order, you know where to serve her. And
Thank you.
if she's evading service, you can get substituted service, what they call nail and mail. You mail it to her at her address, which she's given you, and you have a marshal tack it on to her front door, and then she's been served. Got it?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. What about the tires, Your Honor?
I explained to you, you don't have sufficient proof that she slashed your tires. Probably did, but you have no proof. The fact that she threatened to do you harm, the fact that she was there within that period between 10 p.m. when you had dinner and 6 a.m. when you saw the cars is a wide window. She probably did it, but you need proof that she did it, and you don't have it. And you don't have anybody to whom she confessed. You could have brought somebody, if you say she did actually confess to a coworker, you could have brought that witness, but you didn't. You chose to bring a witness who really couldn't contribute to your case. Do you understand? I'm just telling you, with a confession, and you had the tires, and she had the opportunity, and she had the mechanism, but you need something other than that. That's
the threats weren't a confession, Your Honor?
No. Okay. Now, you're counterclaiming for illegal lockout. Forget it. Your mother told you to leave. Money owed for belongings taken without permission. What belongings?
I had 2 bags of clothes still there.
You had 2 bags of clothes?
Yes, I had 2 big bags.
Just a second. And?
2 big bags of clothes. I had my shoes there, my work shoes as well. Okay. And then I had this big mattress I left as well. It was an air mattress.
And?
That's about everything.
How did the plaintiff prevent you from getting that?
Because when I contacted them about getting my clothes...
Not them. How did the plaintiff prevent you from getting that stuff?
They changed the lock.
Not they. It's not...
Jasmine and Rika changed the locks, and I could not come and get my clothes.
Not they. You have to have proof that the plaintiff, you see, it works 2 ways.
Yeah.
You have to have proof that the plaintiff did something to prevent you getting your stuff. You went there to get stuff. Mm-hmm. You went there to get stuff on the night that her tires were slashed, and you were dragging out bags of stuff.
Not bags. I only had a couple items.
You had a couple of items just a second, that you came back to get at 1 o'clock in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I need to get dressed for work.
Miss Williams, your counterclaim is dismissed.
Yeah,
okay. Now you have her address. If you feel as if you still require a protective order, get it. If you had proof that she posted this, I'd give you a lot more than you were asking for in your complaint. But you need proof that she posted that, other than the fact that the number comes from Chicago.
I receive at least 10, 15, 20 different attempts to be reached out to me requesting sexual favors from the same area code.
I said if you can prove that she posted this, I understand the consequence.
A witness can confirm.
She also texted me that night. I have text message from her that night that she slashed the tires.
That says what? That was the night she came by at 1 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, she lived there.
So, and if that's an acknowledgement that she slashed your tires, we're in business.
Right.
Let me see. You say to her, so you going to flatten her tire? I hope you know the cops will be called. How did you know she was going to flatten the tire?
Because she had did it. She sent me all these text messages.
No, but nothing. You don't understand, Miss Williams. Nothing in the text messages before talk about a tire.
Right.
Nothing in the text messages talk about a tire. And the last thing that it says here is 3:45 in the morning on June 29th. So you're going to flatten her tire. I hope you know the cops will come. Did she respond to that?
Right. She wouldn't respond to
She doesn't respond to it.
Right. Correct.
Okay. That's all. Your counterclaim is dismissed. You have absolutely no claim against them. I've given you her address. If she continues to harass you when you want to file for a protective order and serve her, I've told you how you can do that. Do you understand?
Yes, Your
Great.
Honor.
Thank you very much. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
We know that she carries weapons and there was damage done to the vehicle. You can pretty much put the pieces together.
She's a joke, so I figured she was gonna say that. That's what clowns do, so I'm glad she got to do a circus act.
The word on the street that she did it.
I told her girlfriend she ain't paying no bills. So I told the bum to get some money, and I guess they didn't like that.
At one point, I thought that we could all be a happy family, but it's clearly not what she wants, and I do feel bad.
You ain't gonna get me to admit to that one.
You know, sometimes I wish we had even lower standards of proof than we do, because to you, to me, I'm pretty sure if we polled the audience, everybody out there would say the defendant definitely slashed those tires and probably posted the phone number of her mother's girlfriend online, insinuating that she would be open and willing to engage in sexual favors for strangers. But there is a standard of proof that they have to meet. And I was just waiting for the crumb of proof that we could hang our hat on for both issues.
Just opportunity and inclination doesn't allow a court to, in good conscience, find that she committed a crime. And both of those things would be criminal behavior.
Just with her attitude, I knew.
Her attitude.
I just, I wanted to prove and have that right little crumb to hang the hat on. But unfortunately,
eventually, people with that kind of attitude
always get caught.
Always either get caught.
Donald Sullivan is suing his tenants, William Callahan and Aaron Crowcroft, for loss of income, a false restraining order, and filing a false police report.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3109, Sullivan versus Callahan, Crowcroft.
Mr. Callahan, how long have you been a tenant of the plaintiffs?
I've personally been a tenant for 3 years. Aaron here has been a tenant for 11.
And you live together?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else live in the house?
My partner.
Okay. And how long has your partner been in the house?
Me and him have been in the house 12 years. We're the original tenants.
And are you a tenant of his?
Yes, Your Honor.
What do you pay in rent?
We pay $1,000 a month in rent.
You pay to Mr. Crowcroft?
No, I'm paying for the entirety of the rent myself.
Why is that?
Because he's mentally disabled and doesn't have a source of income right now, so I am his caretaker primarily.
Okay, let's start again. You've been living in the house for 11 years.
11 or 12, yeah. We moved in January 1st, 2012. That's our official move-in date.
And you have a partner?
Yes, I do.
Male or female?
Male.
Does that partner work?
Yes, he does.
What kind of work?
Retail.
Sales?
Yes, retail sales like Walmart.
And what is the nature of your disability?
I'm severely bipolar with Asperger's syndrome and ADHD.
Did you ever work?
I've worked on and off, but I've never been able to maintain work. I've tried. I've never been able to.
Get Social Security?
Not yet, but I'm applying for it as we speak.
How old are you?
I'm 38.
How have you been supporting yourself?
My parents, and then he came into my life.
How did he come into your life?
We've known each other online for a very long time.
Does he get along with your partner?
Yes, very, very much so.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a truck driver.
You work for a company?
Yes, I work for a company.
Long haul?
Well, I do a lot of the local, regional stuff, so all within the state of Wisconsin.
Okay. You don't go on trips longer than a day or two?
No, I'm usually home every night.
And how much do you earn at that job?
About $2,200 a week.
And what do you get paid for, and by whom, as a caretaker?
I don't get paid by anyone. I'm just helping him out, so I'm not officially his caretaker or anything, but as a friend, I'm just helping take care of him.
I got it. So you're not a caretaker of his. I misunderstood. Did you apply to be a caretaker?
No, ma'am.
No, because you're gone all day.
Yes, sir.
So Mr. Crowcroft is alone all day.
Yes, sir.
And his partner is in sales, so he's not there during the day.
Yes, sir.
And you pay the entire rent.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Sullivan, this is your claim. Your claim is that an incident occurred and the defendants alleged to the police that you had a gun and you were at home at the time. Police came to the house. There was a scene. They advised you probably by bullhorn to come out of the house with your hands up. Is that right?
Correct.
You did. You had no gun, but you were in fact taken into custody for that brief period of time. You allege falsely based on a false complaint of theirs to the police. The defendants acknowledge that they made a complaint to the police, but say that the police misunderstood them, that you had threatened them with a gun. That's your defense.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
When did this incident occur?
It was November 6th after midnight, so November 7th until about 3 a.m.
What year?
Of
23.
Yeah, 2023.
Okay. Tell me first, who called the police?
I was the one who called the police that night.
All right, Mr. Callahan. Tell me what happened that night that caused you to call the police.
Originally, I had went to talk with his son because I had received a call from an anonymous number.
From Mr. Sullivan's son?
No, not from Mr. Sullivan's son. But
No, you went to talk to Mr. Sullivan's son.
Correct.
Is that his son?
No, we're talking about Donald John Sullivan.
Okay, so he's not here.
No.
So you went to talk to his son, and where does his son live?
So according to the map there, our defendant's house, our house there.
Got it. So you left your house at what time?
I want to say it was about 11:45 p.m. on the 6th of, that was November.
Okay, so that was on the 6th of November. And what caused you to leave your house at 11:45?
I had, like I said, I had received an anonymous call that someone was investigating his son for the sale and possession of marijuana.
Okay, so you received a call.
Yes, Your Honor.
From someone you don't know. Did they leave a message, or was it a actual call that you picked up?
Completely unavailable number.
Okay, and that the plaintiff's son, who lives in the middle of where you live and the plaintiff lives,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you must be friendly with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, we are. We're on good terms.
Must be if you went there and got this information. How come you didn't call him?
I have text messages to him, but unfortunately that phone was lost and destroyed, so I haven't been able to recover those yet, and I'm trying to. We're also trying to get his original police report about an assault that occurred.
Why is it that these lost phones always happen within weeks of a lawsuit? That is interesting to me.
Well, that one was actually replaced in December.
I don't care if it was replaced in December, it's just unfortunate for your proof.
Donald Sullivan claims his tenants, William Callahan and Aaron Crowcroft, filed a false police report and a false restraining order against him.
Okay, so you walked over to the plaintiff's son's house and told him you had received an anonymous call that somebody was selling marijuana out of his house.
No, that someone was purporting that he was selling marijuana out of his
Who was selling?
Donald John Sullivan.
I understand that marijuana was being sold out of his son's house.
Yes.
Okay. And then what happened?
We talked it over. After we talked it over, I returned back home. There was no issue at that point.
You didn't go over there because there was an issue. I gather you went over there because you were his friend and you wanted to alert him.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then you went home. Come on, let me hear.
And then from there, I had gone back inside and leashed up my dog and then noticed I was out of cigarettes. So I had called him and was like, hey, do you have any cigarettes?
What do you mean you called who?
Donald John Sullivan, the
So
son.
now you telephoned him
Yes,
after having gone over there to have a discussion about the call.
yes,
You telephoned him, you said, I'm out of cigarettes. So now this is 12 o'clock.
correct, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
From there, I went back over to retrieve a cigarette for myself, and this is where the incident occurred. There was
Well, tell me what happened.
After he had given me a cigarette, I went to return. Mr. Sullivan was at the corner of the house.
Show me where.
So at the corner of the house here is where Mr. Sullivan was postponed because I feel he knew the position.
No, don't tell me what you feel. I don't care what you feel. You were between your house, right at the edge of where the plaintiff's son lives, and your house. So you went there to get a regular cigarette.
Yes, Your Honor.
And is marijuana legal in your state, by the way?
No.
No. You went there to get a cigarette at midnight, and you claim that the plaintiff came out
Yes, Your Honor.
of his house, and what happened?
I think you might have messed up the timeline there. The plaintiff didn't come out of his house. The plaintiff was already over here.
When you came to get the cigarette, the plaintiff was there already?
Yes.
Okay, so you called and the plaintiff was already there. You said you're coming for a cigarette.
Yes, Your Honor.
Beginning to think that somebody is peeing on my leg. Go ahead.
And
this is at midnight?
Yes, Your Honor.
Keep going.
Then from there, whenever I saw him, he immediately saw me, started screaming accusations.
Just a second. Come and step back here now for a moment. I want you to tell me what Mr. Sullivan said to you.
He was telling me to get off of his property and get out of his house.
Okay. And what did you say to him?
I did not say anything back. I turned and ran.
Okay, and?
From there, I ran through our houses to the road there.
Now you can go back.
So I ran from here.
Yes.
Up through the middle of our house and our garage here, down the neighbor's driveway.
Why'd you just go home?
I didn't feel like I would be safe at home.
Why?
I don't own any firearms or anything to protect
He didn't
me.
have a firearm.
I know, that's where the police messed up with
Just a second. Police didn't mess up. I want to know, you're running, but you ran past your house because you said you didn't have any firearms in your house. He didn't have a firearm, and you didn't see a firearm.
No, Your Honor.
So why would you worry about having a firearm in your house? How old are you?
32.
How old is he?
74.
Yeah. You understand I'm not buying your story.
Okay.
You do understand that I'm not buying your story. Back. Do you have a copy of the police report?
Yes,
Police
I
were
do.
called. The defendant, Mr. Callahan, acknowledges that he called the police. Mr. Crowcroft, you did not call the police.
No, I wasn't awake. I wasn't awake.
You did not call the police. Well, that's what this case is all about. Did you speak to the police?
No.
Well, Mr. Callahan, this is very clear in this police report. Actually, couldn't be clearer. The police were dispatched. It was not a mistake, as you allege, that the police didn't mistake anything. They were dispatched over a call that said that Mr. Sullivan pointed an AR-15 type rifle at him while speaking to the plaintiff's son. That's what it said in the police report. Now, I've read your answer to this, sir, and your answer suggests that the police got it wrong.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's what the answer says. However, the police did an investigation, and I'm going to read to you what they say, sum and substance. Callahan, that would be you, admitted that he made up the incident because he feared for his roommate. I told Callahan that he was pathetic. Callahan stated he might as well blow his brains out and stated that it would do me a favor. Callahan was arrested, that would be you, for obstruction. The officers had conducted a follow-up because they were shown film footage, which evidently was from a Ring camera that the plaintiff's son has, showing the entire incident, which clearly suggested that there was no AR-15, there was no gun pointed at all. And when you were confronted with that footage, you said, all right, I made up the incident. That's what you said. This wasn't a question of the police getting the report wrong. You acknowledge you made up the incident. Okay. Mr. Sullivan, why are you suing Mr. Crowcroft?
For several things. For one, he cost me loss of income because I had a young lady that was going to rent my house for 15
Where
months.
is she?
She couldn't get off of work.
Not interested in it.
I do have a certified statement.
I don't read certified statements, sir. Why are you suing him? We have the guy who made the false police report. He acknowledged it to the police that he made a false report. Why Mr. Crowcroft?
Well, because he was in on it. I mean, so far, everything they've said is lies. As far as the people that lived there, there's 4 people that were living there.
Okay, right now, all I have here is what you allege is a false arrest.
False arrest.
Your humiliation about that, and you are absolutely right, and you are entitled to be compensated for that.
And if you look on that police report, it was 7 days later that I found out. Other than that, I had to live with the fear that I was going to be arrested. I was ordered out of my house.
Just a second. I get it all. And I think that that's horrible. And he's going to pay for that. I'm trying to get to Mr. Crowcroft, why he's a defendant.
They also filed a false restraining order.
Who did?
Mr. Crowcroft and William, both.
Just a second. Forget about Callahan. He's already guilty.
Donald Sullivan has accused his tenants, William Callahan and Aaron Crowcroft, of lying to the police by claiming Donald was armed with an assault rifle.
He lied to the police. He lied to the police about a very serious situation because if things had been different, it's in the middle of the night. If you had some police officer who was nervous and you came out of the house, it could have been tragic, reporting that you had a serious weapon in the house in the middle of the night. He's already guilty. Crowcroft, did you file for a protective order?
He did for me, yes. He had my permission to do so, for a restraining order to keep him away from me.
Well, just a second. If you filed for a restraining order, on what date did you file for a restraining order?
William? That was the 5th. November 5th, 2023.
The day before this incident?
The day before the incident?
Just a second. The day before the incident. And on what basis did you file a restraining order against him?
William, what was the restraining
What was the
order?
basis? I'm asking you.
I don't know the details. He's the one who took care of the paperwork for me because I didn't understand it.
Who signed it? You?
Yeah, I did sign it.
Just a second. I'd like to see it.
I have it here, Your Honor.
By the way, when I'm looking at this, Mr. Sullivan, you both still living in the house, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a lease now, or is
There hasn't been a lease in 11 years. We only had one for the first year.
I got it. Okay. So you're a month-to-month tenant.
Yes.
When was the last time that rent was paid?
William?
That would be, oh geez, what are we in?
We're in
That
January.
was January 1st,
Of this year?
2024. Yes, Your Honor.
So they're up to date in their rent?
Yes.
Now, I don't see what the basis was for your protective order.
For the protective order, we ordered it because in the previous year...
No. I want to know him, not you. Him.
Why was it filed? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, you need facts for a protective order.
Because Donald followed me around. He was harassing me. He would not leave me alone. He kept coming over, asking questions, and just being rude. I would be sitting in the garage. He'd come walking up, and he'd be demanding things out of me, and he knows I'm bipolar, and he knows that kind of interaction is very hard for me.
I think you should move, actually. I actually think that you should move.
I'd love to.
Well, you should. You're not paying any rent. You might as well not pay rent someplace else. Take them with you. If you have issues and they're exacerbated by the plaintiff, move. You've been there 12 years. You got somebody else to pay the rent. Move. Okay. Anyway, the maximum jurisdiction for this court, and I'm dismissing your case against Mr. Crowcroft. Do you understand?
Okay.
Nothing happened was a result of this protective order. What happened to you was a result of Mr. Callahan's false reporting to the police that you had a weapon, which could have resulted in a tragedy, which caused you to be removed from your home, as per directed by the police. You say that neighbors came out. I'm sure when the police arrived, there was more than one police car or just one?
5.
5 police cars. At what time in the night?
12:30.
In the morning?
Yes.
Yeah. Frightening. Frightening for anybody. More frightening for somebody in their 70s, and absolutely outrageous because you consciously lied to the police. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. We're finished here. Thank you.
Court adjourned.
I'm not truly in agreement with them because the police did try to bring up charges against me, but they dropped those because they found the video was edited.
I was very happy with it.
There's a lot of information that was missed out on.
I hope it sets an example for people that make false police reports.
Mr. Sullivan's always been a very hostile person, and this is just a continuation of that.
The incident happened the day after they were served their eviction by the sheriff's department.
No, the eviction was thrown away, and his son actually took over the property and has begun making the repairs because his eviction was retaliatory against us for calling code enforcement because the house is just withering away, and he just sits there with his hands folded and does nothing.
Well, I was ordered to come out of the house with my hands above my head.
At that time, I didn't see a firearm in his hand. What I had reported to the police was I was approached aggressively by Mr. Sullivan.
And they said it's a very serious matter. When I come out of the house, they ordered me to lift up my shirt and turn around. and told me that they'd probably be coming back to arrest me.
I told them to be wary. He does own firearms, and they took that as me saying he had a firearm that night.
I was accused of pointing an AR-15 at a tenant that I'm trying to evict.
I never claimed anything about an AR-15 with the report. I just stated to the police on the phone that he had weapons.
My little sister was crying in the house because she thought my dad was going to jail. I was calling up my family, telling them that we might need to go somewhere because I thought my dad was going to jail.
Don't lie to the police, and definitely do something about your roommates being assaulted before it's too late.
I'm just happy to be alive, and I'm happy to have it over with.
Very surprising to me that after doing this investigation, which was clear from the police report that I read, and he confessed to lying to the police to get the police to the house, lying about somebody having an automatic weapon, that they didn't arrest him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he might have said they did arrest him, but then they didn't end up charging him.
Right.
But I'm surprised that they didn't follow through on charges. I mean, he's just lucky that on the way to the home, 5 police cars speeding, didn't hit anybody, hit another vehicle, get in an accident. Lucky nothing more serious happened to the plaintiff either as a result of the false reporting, because then it's not just an oopsie. Then you have a big problem on your hands because of a lie that you told police knowingly.
Yeah.
So
it is surprising to me that they didn't follow through.
Yeah, I thought
they dispatched 5 police cars. That alone should have made the police annoyed enough to at least follow through.
Exactly. I thought that was a more serious crime, reporting falsely to the police, than they seem to have.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3102, Flores versus Ortiz Aguirre.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my God, this is like a series, like a 10-part series, so I have to try to simplify it. Miss Flores, you and these 2 ladies used to be friends.
Correct.
And between the 3 of you, you have 7 children?
Altogether about, yeah.
And the 3 of you have been friends for a while, and on September 1st of 2022, the 3 of you, along with your boyfriend, were hanging out at whose house?
My house.
With all the children?
Yes.
And you had to go out for a little while, according to what you said. I don't know where. Tell me where you went.
I went to see a friend. She needed me. There was some urgent. I was gone for 30 minutes.
So you went out for a little bit. And when you came back, according to what I read, you found that your boyfriend and these 2 gals were drinking.
Yes.
And you and the boyfriend sort of got into it.
Correct.
Excuse me. Sorry. It's incorrect that she was only gone for 30 minutes.
Let's say she was gone for 2 hours.
It was 2 hours.
Great. Good guess.
Thank
Let's
you.
say it was gone for 2 hours, so you were drinking for 2 hours and not just a half hour.
We
started at the pool.
Okay. And you threw him out.
Yes.
And the 2 of you left as well. One of you took the boyfriend home with them.
That's me.
That would be you. And when you brought the boyfriend home with you, according to you, he was upset and you wanted to console him.
Yeah.
Well, you consoled him. I bet. He's now your husband.
Yes.
And then on September 25th, Miss Flores was at a local bar.
The bar that Priscilla and I go to.
I don't want you to shout out anymore. Do you understand?
That's fine.
It doesn't help you.
That's fine.
She was at a local bar. And after she arrived, you 2 arrived. Is that correct?
Yes.
Had you ever been to that bar before?
This is the first time.
Why did you pick that bar?
Because it was far from my city, about 20-minute drive. I figured somewhere a little farther so I won't bump into the girls, and I ended up bumping right into them.
So what you're saying is you did not know that this was a place where they frequented?
Yes.
Okay. Who takes care of all your little children when you're out bar hopping?
At this very...
Oh, sorry. I'm just asking a question. That's a name. Who takes care of all your children when you're out bar hopping at night?
I have a co-parent, so at that time it was my co-parent that was taking care of my children.
And what about you?
My family.
Which family?
My siblings, my older siblings.
I live at home with my dad, so he's home with them.
Anyway, after you were there for a while, the 2 of them came in, and according to you, you decided to leave, that there was some bad air in the air, and you decided it wouldn't be a good idea. You went to leave, and according to you, they followed you outside.
Yes.
Your car was parked there?
Right in front.
Okay. So now I've set the stage. Now you tell me what happened when you left the bar.
I didn't really want to continue staying there after seeing the girls. I felt uneasy. Before I left, I noticed the girls were getting rowdy. The security then asked them to leave. The girls I did see in the corner of my eye walking across the street as security was yelling at them, leave or whatever they were talking
So were
about.
they outside or were
they were already going outside.
They were
being
outside?
pushed outside, yeah.
By security?
Correct, yes.
Okay, and you're still inside?
Yes.
Shh. Just for my own curiosity, why didn't you stay in the bar when they were pushed out? Why did you leave?
I just felt uncomfortable. I couldn't.
Well, they weren't. You understand my question?
Yes.
The threat was gone. They were now outside the bar. Why don't you stay in the bar?
I wanted to leave. Only the reason being is because it was getting closer for me to pick up my children. I felt it was best for just me to leave, and I was really not having fun.
What time was this?
This was it's getting close to midnight, so probably about 11:30ish.
Okay, so now it's midnight. And how old are your children?
My daughter's 10 and my son is 5.
And they were with whom?
The co-parent, my ex-husband.
And you were going to pick them up at midnight?
No, I would make sure I picked them up in the morning, but I wanted to go home, rest, and so forth.
So you weren't going to pick your children up?
Not right away, no.
Okay, so there was no urgency for you to leave at that moment?
Yes.
Just setting the stage for where we're at. So now you're outside and you go outside and your car is parked right in front.
Yes.
Keep going.
I went outside to leave. I opened the driver door. As soon as I opened the driver door, Priscilla Ortiz jumps right in front of me in the vehicle.
That would be you?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Not yep.
Oh, yes, Your Honor.
Better.
Sorry.
I was confused. I said, what are you doing? She goes, you're not leaving. You're not going anywhere. As soon as that was said, I see in the corner of my eye was Jessica, and I felt other people around me. I then felt people pushing me and tugging me, and there is ongoing traffic right there. I was very scared. And then I had on my purse, it's a cell phone, my debit card, and so forth, and I have a key little weapon for self-defense that I do carry with me. That little weapon I had, and I told Priscilla, stay away from me. And I had it right in her front. I go, stay away from me. She lunged after me, and I did stab her with it. Then,
how many times?
From my understanding, twice at least. I don't think it was any more than that.
She didn't have a weapon.
No, she did not. But I had prior restraining order before that. She has been taunting me before that.
I don't care. She didn't have a weapon.
You're right.
And you stabbed her.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, you stabbed both of them.
Yes.
Okay, so now you stabbed Priscilla at least twice.
Correct.
Where had you stabbed her?
I believe on the back.
So she was still active. Doing what?
Yelling at me. She was
yelling at you?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you do when she was yelling at you?
I backed up and I told him, let me leave, get out of my way, I want to leave. As I opened the driver door, Priscilla came right between me in the car.
And? Just and?
Then she started yelling at me, saying you're not going anywhere.
Yes, and?
So then I backed away because other people were pulling me back. Then Jessica came and lunged at me, and that's when I lunged at her, and I did hurt her. And then I was trying to leave the situation. The girls were in front of me, and I squeezed through and jumped into my vehicle because the door was already open. After I seen Jessica.
Well, you stabbed only one. When did you stab the second one?
When I was being pulled, I stabbed, but I didn't know it was Jessica at the time. But I did stab somebody as I was being pulled back.
You stabbed her in the neck?
Yes.
Danielle Flores claims her former friends, Priscilla Ortiz and Jessica Aguirre, owe for car damages and emotional distress. Priscilla and Jessica are countersuing for injuries received when Danielle stabbed them.
Yeah. Then you get into your car.
Correct.
And?
I got into the car. I drove. Before I drove off, the car was going back and forth. I looked in the back window. I noticed that someone was breaking my windshield wiper, breaking the front of my windshield wiper.
Who was that?
It was Jessica's cousin or niece. She was there. She was breaking the windshield wipers and so forth.
And then?
I drove off. I drove 2 streets away and I called the police on myself.
So what are you suing them for? Somebody else damaged your car.
I have recordings of Jessica opening my driver door and kicking the steering wheel.
Okay, I would like to hear that recording.
Yeah. Okay.
You could see all put on there.
just want to know where her
I didn't see anybody kicking your steering wheel.
Kicking the inside of my car. If you
I
notice,
didn't see anybody kicking inside of your car. You want to play that again?
Yes.
Maybe I missed it.
It's right here. You see Jessica, she's moving a lot. She's actually kicking the inside of my vehicle.
Okay. And then she gets out.
Correct.
Okay. And so I want you to show me the damage she did to your steering wheel.
Yes.
Because then you say you drove away. So you clearly drove away and the car was functioning. Let me just get this clear, Miss Flores.
Yes.
By the time she went in and kicked your car,
Yes.
and then she got out of the car and you got in and drove away, you had already stabbed both of them with a weapon, which neither one of them had, when one of them tried to prevent you from leaving by kicking your steering wheel. Am I getting this right?
Yes, you are, Your Honor.
That's funny. So let me understand this. You had a confrontation with two unarmed people. You stabbed them both. You suffered no physical injury. They're going to show me, because I had seen photographs in here of their injuries. One required 13 stitches, one required several staples as a result of
I
being...
got 30 stitches.
And you think that was okay?
I was self-defending myself out of previous events of them constantly harassing me, Your Honor.
I don't
I
care.
have restraining orders against them. They kept harassing me.
Listen to me. You can't use a deadly weapon against somebody because you feel as if you're being harassed. But the first thing that was clear is if they had been harassing you and they were told by security in the bar to leave for whatever reason, because nothing happened in the bar because you felt uncomfortable. You just felt uncomfortable that they were there. So maybe they were rowdy, who knows? But then they were escorted out of the bar. And instead of you letting this situation sort of resolve and staying for a half hour until they left, you decided to leave at the exact same time as they were escorted out, or moments thereafter, because you wanted to get home and take a nap before you had to go pick up your children early in the morning. Am I getting that right?
You are, yes.
Yeah. Get out of here. You have a counterclaim.
Yes.
Yes.
And your counterclaim is for being stabbed.
Yes, Your Honor.
I would just like to know, there was a trial on this?
Yes.
Against her?
Against her.
Was it a jury trial?
Well, we weren't really involved in anything for it. We got like phone calls, but they pretty much told us like, you don't need to go to court because there's nothing to do other than we already have your statements.
Did you have a lawyer? Because you were arrested for assault. You had to be arrested for assault.
Yes.
This was serious physical injury.
I did.
One of them was in the neck, you know, but for the grace of God, it could have hit an artery, it could have been dead. What happened with that case when you were arrested?
It got dismissed.
I want to see a certificate of disposition. I want to see what happened.
This is where it's dismissed. Those were the ones that were for dismissal.
I have to know more about this.
I have the police report of that.
No, I don't want the police report. I want to know what happened in court that caused it to be, was it dismissed? Did you take a plea and do community service?
No.
Well, what happened?
They dropped it because I had a restraining order and previous events with Jessica and Priscilla.
Where does it say that here?
When we were at court, they didn't show up multiple times. The court I didn't get my release until November. I was out on OR until November 22nd.
Okay. I asked you to show me a picture just for closure.
For the vehicle.
Kevin, would you just show me pictures of the steering wheel that she wants to show me?
Yes, they're all in there.
Just steering wheel. Now, who wants to tell me what happened?
Your Honor, we were not escorted out of the bar the night everything happened on September 25th. So we were just in the front of the bar. We were not escorted out.
Did anybody ask you to leave?
No, nobody asked us to
How
leave.
come you decided to leave? You had just gotten there.
We didn't leave at all.
You didn't leave?
No, nobody asked us to leave. We didn't feel any type of way of being
Fine.
there.
So now you're at the bar, and?
And so we had gotten our drinks, and we were already there for a while until we noticed that Miss Flores was there. And so once we noticed that she was there, we still, you know, we're just like...
Come, faster.
And then
Faster.
so we stayed, and towards the end of the night, which was already past 1:30, almost 2 is closing time. So we were still right there, and we were right there by the front of the bar. When Miss Flores had walked past me, she had mumbled something, and then I had asked her what she mumbled. Somehow we were going around her car, and
Now, just so you're at the bar, how do you get around her car
like
when you're in the bar?
Like she mentioned, she was parked in the front.
So she was leaving. Follow me carefully.
Danielle Flores is accusing her former friends, Priscilla Ortiz and Jessica Aguirre, of damaging her car and creating a false arrest. Priscilla and Jessica are countersuing, claiming Danielle stabbed them multiple times.
She was leaving.
She was leaving.
Passing you in the bar.
Yes, correct.
And she was leaving. Then she said something to you, mumbled something under her breath.
Yes.
You said, what did you say to me? Blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
She's still leaving. She goes outside.
Yes.
Did you follow her outside?
No.
Yes.
Did you? I don't want to hear you. Did you go out after her?
We were already in the front.
I don't understand what you mean in the front.
Well, because the front of the bar has an inside and outside. And the front has where you can, kind of hang around. So that's where we were. But we were not escorted out. We were not.
I didn't ask you whether you were escorted out. I'm trying to get a timeline. Right now, she passed
she said
you.
we were escorted out and we weren't.
Did you understand what I just said to you? I'm past that.
Yes.
Right now, all I'm dealing with, how much of this whole mess and getting stabbed was instigated by the two of you. That's what I'm trying to figure out. How much of it was your responsibility of getting involved with her? Because it doesn't look like the kind of person who would just take out a knife and stab you. So now we're outside, and I want to find out how you got outside. She was going outside. Did you follow her to her car?
Your Honor.
How did you get to her car?
We were already outside.
You don't answer my question, I'm going to dismiss your case. Do you understand that?
Yes.
That's easy for me. If something doesn't make sense, it's not true. You said you were at the bar. Yes. She passed you. You were sitting at the front, clearly towards the entrance, because you said it was half inside, half outside.
Yes.
So she was passing you on her way out. She mumbled something to you as you were at the bar.
Yes.
You said, what did you mumble? She's going out to her car. Mm-hmm. How did the two of you get to her car?
By
From
walking.
the bar.
By walking.
Right after her.
Yes.
No, don't speak.
You're right.
Right after her.
Mm-hmm.
So that you followed her out of the bar.
Yes.
Okay. Why?
Because she mumbled something and I wanted to confront what she mumbled, and previously we're already having altercations.
Well, then that would make you very stupid.
Okay.
That would make you very stupid to follow her out after you had had many altercations. You had been in the bar for a while. Everybody's drinking. You followed her outside. She was leaving. What about you?
We were still inside. Priscilla goes and follows to where she's going with the guys that she was with. And then he starts to kind of go towards Priscilla to grab her.
Who sort of goes to Priscilla?
The man that Miss Flores was with.
Who was following her out of the bar?
Yes.
So he goes to prevent her from following her out of the bar.
At that point,
that would be a yes.
Well, because they're both arguing with each other.
That's okay.
Yeah.
She was following her out of the bar.
Yeah, but she was just sitting there yelling at her. They're both yelling at each other. And then
they wouldn't have been yelling at each other if she hadn't have followed her out of the bar. Right. Of course I'm right.
So
now they're yelling at each other.
They're yelling at each other, and to me, there's no reason for him to put his hands on her. So when her cousin and I saw that, we went up to confront him. We're like, hey, you need to leave her alone because they've had altercations in the past. So we were like, hey, you need to leave her alone, stay out of it. And then everyone starts arguing. Them two are arguing. We're arguing with the guy. And then everything gets moved over to her car. And then that's when everyone's yelling at each other. And then out of nowhere, she strikes me. And then there's so much going on. I looked down and I felt wet. And I just touched myself. My hands covered in blood. My outfit, as you could see in the video, was covered in blood. I hadn't touched her. We were arguing, but I have the police report here where she states that she did not have any injuries. And then
Just a second. She didn't have any injuries, and there was no cause for her to stab either one of you, based upon what I saw, based upon what she told me. There was a lot of verbal screaming back and forth, but there was nothing that I heard or saw that suggested that in self-defense, she took out a knife and stabbed the both of you. Absolutely nothing. So, Ms. Flores, your case is dismissed, where you're asking for damages to the steering wheel. And on the counterclaim, I'm awarding the defendants $10,000 as they request. I have no idea why they dropped this case. Either your lawyer knew somebody or the judge was taking a nap. But there is absolutely no basis to use a deadly weapon.
I was self-defending myself. I have restrainers. She keeps calling me, even to this day.
Listen to me.
Your Honor.
Listen to me.
Your Honor, please.
I don't care if you have restraining orders, madam. Don't you understand? You cannot use a deadly weapon when somebody is yelling at you. People that you know, people that you have a history with, you can't use a deadly weapon. And nothing in the story that you told me gave you reason to pick up a knife and use a deadly weapon. The history that you may have with them is an entirely different thing.
Please, let me please explain what happened previously to these events and the ongoing harassment that Priscilla still taunts me.
Listen to me. If she taunts you, file a violation of the protective order.
Okay.
That's what you do. You don't stab them.
I had it for self-defense because I was so scared of them.
That's my judgment. Your case is dismissed, $10,000 on the counterclaim. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
I do feel scared to this day of how she torments me as well as her family members.
We were all friends, and then she's just not a good person that we wanted to be associated with.
But Jessica, the fact that she did follow me outside the vehicle, I know a weapon was not a choice to have, but it was something that I felt unsafe with because of the constant of them harassing me prior to this event.
I just looked down and I was covered in blood, and I just started freaking out.
Definitely no more seeing each other. I hope with the relocation within the apartments, it will be a better peaceful environment for me and Priscilla, and definitely go from there.
Justice was served because she didn't deserve
I'm glad she was
to take advantage of us again.
I don't think I would have granted the defendants all of the money that they were seeking in their countersuit, because in her story, when she was laying it out to you, she admitted that she knew that there was a restraining order against her held by the plaintiff.
You mean the defendant?
The defendant. So the second that they entered that bar and then realized that the plaintiff was there, they're under a legal obligation to leave, and you did not leave. So therefore, I think that obviously, no one deserves to be stabbed. You cannot just stab people. That is not something you can do. But
they were under an obligation.
They were under a legal obligation to leave. Not to say they should not have been compensated for being stabbed under the circumstances.
She had no basis, except that she said she had prior harassment.
There is a proper course of recourse for when someone violates a restraining order, none of which includes...
Case 3100, Moreau versus Rodriguez.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Moreau, you and Mr. Rodriguez met, you began a friendship. Could you give the dog to your witness, please? You met the defendant at your place where you were both working, became friends. Shortly thereafter, you began dating, and in May of last year, you moved in together.
Yes.
Did you move into your apartment, to his apartment, or was it an apartment that you got together as a couple?
Yes, we got it together.
Who was on the lease?
It was both of us.
In October of the same year, 4 or 5 months later, you broke up.
Yes.
And your lawsuit is about what happened at the breakup and as a result of the breakup. According to your complaint, in October, the day that you in fact broke up, you had a fight with Mr. Rodriguez. He put his hands on you. He assaulted you. You left the house. And when you left the house, you left and went and stayed with your parents?
Yes.
You claim that Mr. Rodriguez has some property that belongs to you?
Yes.
In the house? And that the assault that took place was serious enough that you should be compensated for it, despite the fact that there was no police involvement in this, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And there were no hospital records or no doctor's records?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you didn't go to the hospital or seek any medical care, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The defendant says that there was an argument. You did, in fact, break up. After you broke up, you came to his house and there was an argument and you did in fact assault him. He denies that he assaulted you at all at the beginning of October when you broke up. And he says that when you left, you agreed that he could keep the 2 corgis that you had together in the apartment. This is one of them. And that was in October. And sometime in December, this is his complaint, you called and said, could you take the dogs for 2 days? He said, okay, because there was a threat and you haven't returned the dogs. He would like the corgis back. Correct? Now, this is one of the corgis. Where's the other?
He was too big to fit on the plane. He's at home.
Okay, so when were the corgis purchased?
Her I got of March of last year, and the other one, Chip, I got in June of last year.
So you had one when you and the defendant moved in together?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Is this the one you had when you moved in together?
Yes.
So all the dogs were purchased after you lived together?
Yes.
Who were the dogs purchased from?
Her I got from Petland in Frisco, and the boy he found on Craigslist.
He found the dog because you wanted a second dog?
Yes.
Who paid for the dog at Petland?
I did.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is the dog registered?
Yeah.
And that's this dog?
Yes.
Sir, this is part of your complaint. You want this dog back?
Yes, ma'am.
You neither purchased the dog, correct?
Correct.
The dog is not registered in your name, correct?
Correct.
Why would you think I would give you this dog?
Because the entirety of our relationship since we bought Fatty, I was the one taking care of her in the mornings. I would wake up 6 in the morning or whatever time it was, take her out, whether it was freezing cold, hot, raining.
Who cares?
And
who cares?
Of course, but also I have here pictures where she, once after the breakup, she was stating that she can't keep the dog's not worth the money.
If you have statements that suggest that she gave you the dog, I'll read them. But on its face, the fact that you walk the dog in the morning or in the afternoon or at night has no relevance to this whatsoever.
Well, I have the messages where she's saying that the dog is, not worth anything. I need to get rid of her. She's bad. She's telling me to come pick her up.
May I see those, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Here you go.
What are you selling? Who's selling something?
She is stating that she wants to sell the dog.
That Chip?
That is the other dog, yeah.
Well, one she bought, and it's in her name, so that's definitely hers.
And also...
That's Fatty, right?
Yes.
And Chip, sir?
So it was about both of them. From the day we broke up, I kept the dogs because she couldn't keep them. She couldn't take care of them. She left them in the cage all day. And I also have evidence where, her family members are throwing cheese at her face, mistreating the dogs.
Show me. Dog looks perfectly happy to me.
Oh, you can press play.
What was that big piece of cheese that was thrown in the dog's eye?
That was my dad from TikTok.
Who did that to
my dad? He has a TikTok account. It's a trend on TikTok to throw it on babies' faces and dogs.
That's terrible.
It's a trend.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's a stupid trend. I didn't partake in it, but...
Why would I leave this dog in a house with a stupid person who takes out that stupidity on an animal to put a thing up on TikTok? That's absolutely outrageous.
We take care of them. They're fine.
No, you don't.
What's wrong with you? Why would you even think that that's reasonable?
Cecilia Morrow has accused her ex-boyfriend, Saeed Rodriguez, of assaulting her and stealing property. Saeed is countersuing for the return of 2 corgis and claims he was the one assaulted.
Why did you leave the dogs at his house for 2 months?
It wasn't 2 months straight. It was probably like a week or two straight.
No, it wasn't a week or two. What do you mean straight? You had a fight in October.
Yeah. We were co-parenting, I guess, with the dogs because I was working and so was he. So we couldn't...
Are you telling me after you broke up?
Yes.
How could you be co-parenting with somebody? You mean you would go to his house and get the dogs or he would bring them to your house?
No, he would come to my house to pick them up and drop them off, and it would same way with...
And he would see you?
Yes.
He would see you?
Yes.
Did you have conversations with him?
Nothing important.
Well, I want you to tell me, after you broke up, how did you arrange that you would co-parent for the dogs?
There wasn't really an agreement. It was just, I'm busy, can you pick him up? Yes, and then same.
Not true.
All right. This argument that you had in October when you broke up, you want to tell me about it, and then I'm going to get back to the dogs.
So he assaulted me. He punched a hole in a TV. He bought the TV, but still he punched it because I told him if he was going to put his hands on me, then we're actually done. But he punched the TV instead, and I have pictures of what he did that night.
I don't care if he punched a hole in the TV. It's his TV.
Yeah, he punched holes in the apartment that we were staying at as well.
You're still in the apartment?
Yes, Your Honor.
He's still there. Did you take her name off the lease?
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't care what he did to the apartment, madam. He's still in the apartment. He's going to have to pay for any damage. Let's move. You didn't call the police as a result of whatever incident happened in the house. You said he got mad at you, he accused you of cheating. That's what you said in your complaint. He came in, he jumped up on top of the bed, and then he choked you, and then he hit you. You have photographs of that.
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at them. I'm just going to take this. I don't know what this is from. Clearly shows that something happened in her mouth. I'm not exactly sure what. She has 2 marks that she's showing me. Now, did you hit her in the mouth?
No, Your Honor.
You tell me in your own words what happened the night that she came home and you accused her of cheating.
So the night that she came home, I told her, I'm like, what are you doing? Where did you go? She starts trying to make up excuses. I show her messages. I'm like, okay, you're lying to me. I don't appreciate it. She starts going off. I start going off. Just a verbal argument, and just like how she assaulted me.
No. She didn't touch you that night.
She pushed me.
Tell me how that took place, sir, that she pushed you.
She's a very angry person, and...
No. How it came about that she pushed you.
Well, started arguing back and forth about how she wasn't doing anything wrong. I told her, yes, you are.
And now you're fighting verbally back and forth.
Yes.
And she pushed you. She put her hands on your chest.
And she...
Show me how she pushed you. Show me on your roommate how she pushed you. Go ahead. And
she just started trying to slap me.
And
at that moment, that's when I pushed her over and I told her, do not put your hands on me.
Just a second. So you pushed her over?
Yes, to defend myself.
You pushed her over. All right, so this is your problem, sir. You said nothing happened that night. You said in your answer nothing happened that night.
I have a copy of the police report that I reported.
I'm going to look at it in a second. Now, you say here, I never assaulted Cecilia. We have plenty of arguments during the relationship, but I've never assaulted her. She has a tendency to blow things out of proportion. I have never put my hands on a woman in my life. Well, that's not true. You just told me you did.
As self-defense.
You didn't say that here. You said, I've never put my hands on a woman in my life.
Would that be considered assault in self-defense?
No. That's not what you said. Okay, now I'll see the police report. Okay, so what you did is you came home after you were drinking for the night. That's what you told the police, that you had a night of drinking and you had a fight. He wanted to know where you were. She said the argument became physical. The defendant here grabbed her and pinned her onto the bed while he laid on top of her, holding her arms down. Proceeded to take his right hand and bruised and cut her lips. She was dizzy but did not lose consciousness. It was not because of the alcohol she had previously consumed. Cecilia said she eventually left the room and went to sleep. Just a second. So after this incident, when he allegedly hit you, causing this injury to your lip, you went back to living with him?
Yes.
Yeah? I'm reading this thing, and I said, well, she said she was assaulted. She left. She went home, and she went to live with her parents. But you didn't. You went back to sleep, and then you stayed with him because this incident, the one that you just described to me, happened on September 10th. And you went to the police on October 24th.
Yeah.
Then there was an incident on October 19th. She said you had another argument, but he did not strike her because she threatened to leave if he did. Instead, he punched holes in the apartment. She decided to leave after that and no longer is living with him. Okay. Now, later on in the month, after the 19th, because now I am not considering what happened on September 10th, because you went back to live with him. Between September 10th and October 19th, did you share a bed? That's a question.
Yes.
Every day?
No.
4 days a week?
No.
5 days a week? You were living together until the 19th of October.
Yes.
Where did you live?
Well, we had couches as well as a bed, so we weren't always sleeping together.
That's not
true. You know, I don't believe you. Okay, good. So I'm not even considering the 10th of September. Later on, there was an incident where he says you assaulted him. You came to his house where he was living now. You were living at your parents' house, right?
Yes.
And you came to the house. What date was that?
It was like 2 or 3 days after the breakup.
Was the breakup in October?
Yes, Your Honor. It was October 12th.
October 12th. Got it. You tell me what happened on October 12th. Did you go to his house?
I can't remember.
She was living with me.
She was living with you?
Until that day, October 12th.
I moved out October 31st. I was still living with him on that incident that happened on October 12th. We broke up, and that's when he punched the... I have pictures right here when he punched.
I heard punching the hole in the wall. I'm not interested. He still lives there. He's going to have to fix the hole in the wall.
No, I'm saying that's why we broke up, because I told him if he put his hands on me, then... But he punched the TV
instead. Now we're talking
instead.
about his allegation that you assaulted him.
I did not touch him.
That is false.
That's a counterclaim that you have. Then I have to figure out what to do with these dogs.
So I have pictures and I have messages where...
I want to know when it happened and where.
Let me show you.
No, I want you to tell me. When did it happen and where?
It was a day or two after I had left, which might have been October 14th or 15th. And she was upset because I had already picked up Fatty because she asked me to. She texted me, I want my stuff back. I want the dog back. And I told her, I was like, no, if you already filed the lawsuit against me, let's just go about it the legal way. I told her, do not show up at my house, which I clearly have messages where I state not to show up. And in those messages, she threatens to murder me, find me and kill me. At that moment, I told her, if you do not leave, I will call the cops. And in that second, she lashed out, grabbed my neck, and scratched my whole neck and my shoulder. And that's...
What date was that?
So October 14th or 15th.
And then you went to the police on October 24th for the first time?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can I see your photographs, please? Did you report this to the police?
I called the police in the incident. That's why she attacked me.
Just a second. Did the police respond?
The police did respond. They did not want to take a report.
Kevin, would you show this to the plaintiff, please?
He pulled a gun out on me, and that's why I brought her as my witness, because she was there and saw everything that happened that night.
Cecilia Morrow claims her ex-boyfriend, Saeed Rodriguez, owes for an assault and personal property. Saeed is countersuing for the return of 2 corgis and says he was the one assaulted.
Now, did he pull a gun out before this happened? I want you to explain exactly how it happened.
The reason I went to his house is because I noticed on my credit card that he spent $600 on a PS5. He's 22, by the way.
What is a PS5?
A console for gaming with those kids play Fortnite, yeah.
Okay, so he spent money from your credit card?
Yes.
Okay, had you contacted him about it?
Yes,
Or you
I
weren't?
have, yes.
Okay.
And he took my dog as well, and she is my ESA animal. I can't be separated from her.
That's not true.
She is my ESA animal.
She's what?
My ESA animal, emotional support animal. It's registered with the government. Do you want to see the...
I'm not interested.
Okay.
Do you work?
Yes, I do. I'm a realtor as well as a financial advisor.
Do you see a therapist regularly?
I need to.
Yep, that's not what I asked you. Do you see a therapist regularly?
No.
Who did you get to write the letter for you that indicated that this corgi that you left behind is an emotional support animal? That's a question. Madam, look at me. It had to be a doctor, correct?
Yes, it is.
It had to be a doctor.
Yes.
What's the name of the doctor?
I have
No. The answer is you don't know offhand the name of the doctor. Is that right?
Yes.
Does the doctor live in the area where you live?
No.
How many times did you personally visit this doctor?
Not once. It was registered through online.
The answer is never.
Yeah.
So you're trying to tell me that I should look at a certificate that some doctor gave you online that you needed a support animal when you are not in any psychiatric care and haven't been. The doctor never examined you, but for a fee, pay attention, for a fee, wrote you a letter so that you could make this an emotional support dog. Now I want you to tell me in what month?
May. And I have the registration if you want to take a look at it.
I don't want to take a look at it at all. It's nonsense. You know it's nonsense, and I know it's nonsense. Now, there are several reasons why you get these nonsense online from Close the Cover Before You Strike doctors that will attest to the fact that you need a therapy dog in order to survive. There are several reasons for it. You want to take it to work?
No.
What was the reason? There has to be a reason.
Yeah.
I'm really smart.
I know.
Really smart.
It was so we didn't have to pay the pet deposit, so when we got the apartment.
There you go. So it was a fraud.
No, but
Just a second. So it was a fraud. So you committed a fraud, so you didn't have to pay a pet deposit for your animals. When I asked you, you want to read me back the answer when I asked her, do you see a psychiatrist? And she said, no, but I need one. And you knew you needed one in May when you had to pay the pet deposit.
No, I need
You
two.
two people are really cute. Is that what she said?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Rodriguez, the plaintiff owns the dog. She owns the dog. She paid for the dog. It's registered in her name. The fact that you were a good caretaker, I can't help you with that. The dog looks as if it's in pretty good shape. Believe me, if the dog didn't look as if it was in pretty good shape, somehow I would find a way. But right now, the dog looks as if it's in pretty good shape. I'm directing the plaintiff, however, that in the event that she has to remove the dogs from her parents' house where she's living, that she's precluded from selling them or giving them away until she gives you an opportunity to take them. I'm also directing you, because I assume you live with your parents and I assume your father's going to be watching this, or I would tell him when I got home that the judge called you a moron.
I will.
You can tell him that.
I will.
And I suggest to you that if you want to own a pet, I've had pets all my life, you have to protect your pet from morons.
Yes.
Whether they be little children who are morons or adults who have nothing better to do than to make TikTok videos using somebody else as a fall person. Frightening. As far as the assaults are concerned, I find that you both assaulted each other on 2 different days. There's no question in my mind that you assaulted him, and there's no question in my mind that as a result of her pushing you, and you have a temper because I know that you broke some of the things in your apartment, that you did, in fact, do something in her mouth. It didn't remove her teeth, but clearly, whatever you did to her face caused her lip to hit her tooth, which caused it to have a bruise on it. Anything else that I have to consider?
Yes, all the furniture that I left at the apartment.
Did you have a moving company come and move stuff for you? That's either a yes or a no.
Yes.
I read the papers. You
Yes.
did. On what date did you have a moving company come?
It was November 1st.
When you hired the moving company, did you give them a list of things to move?
Yes.
And did they move the list of the things that you gave them to move?
Yes.
Correct? And they moved them.
Yes.
So that part of your case is dismissed. It's over. She's keeping the dogs. And we're done here. Case is dismissed.
This court is adjourned.
But that's what happens when you get in narcissistic relationships. People manipulate you. I was with him since I was 15. I'm 19 now.
Honestly, I was pretty upset with the outcome of the dogs.
I haven't talked to him in months. This is the first time I've seen him in forever.
She kept coming back. I mean,
I don't like him. I don't want him ever.
done means done, man.
What's done is done.
I was so surprised when I found out that she was only 19. Not a real stable place in your life to be getting a dog, and let alone 2, when you're not settled. You know, I think that's so unfair for dog owners when they're not settled. And, you know, it's just
There's an immaturity.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying to me is there's an immaturity. Problem is when you're immature, you don't realize that it's a mistake because an immature person is making a mature judgment. What I actually found, I mean, it was stupid. It wasn't as if it did something horrendous to the dog, but frightened the dog by throwing this square of cheese at its eye.
Well, I've seen the trend, and it actually did start on babies. throwing slices of cheese on babies' heads in high chairs.
What is happening to the world?
Yeah.
What's happening
Too
if
much
somebody
time on
thinks
their
that
hands.
that's funny
Yeah.
to startle a baby or to startle a creature in order to make somebody else laugh?
Yeah.
You know,
the world we live in today.
If morons want to do that, let them stick a broomstick someplace and take a TikTok picture of it on themselves.
Yeah.
On themselves.
I'm with
Why
you.
choose some other living creature? I don't understand that.
I'm with you.
I would build more.
अपन भाई लोग है, भाई लोग की तरह रहना मांगता अपन को, समझा ना? समझता है ना?
क्या तुम बीकू महात्रे को जानते हो? कौन बीकू? वहां बैठे हैं।